She is the host of Izzy and Spain. It is Sarah Spain, and of course you see her on Around the Horn as well. And here she is on our show on the morning after the blowout at Golden State last night, 113-91. Warriors take game one, and Sarah Spain joins us here on Big Board Sports on this Friday show on 104.5 Team ESPN Radio. Sarah, Roger Weiland, Chris Honorado in Albany. Good morning.
How are you guys?
Fantastic. I picked Golden State and Chris picked Cleveland, so everything's good. Everything's good.
One of you is fantastic.
But it's only game one, Sarah. But that second half, really the whole game, but the second half in particular was awfully impressive by Golden State. And boy, does Kevin Durant make a difference or what?
Oh, absolutely. And it's so interesting to watch a team that is so afraid of the kick out three that they just let a guy walk through the lane and dunk 6 times in the first quarter. And Kevin Durant was probably thinking to himself, this is the easiest buckets I've gotten in a playoff game in a while. But then, of course, when you decide to stop ball, then they kick it out and they hit those threes. So the Warriors are a tough team to guard, for sure.
Did game one go as you expected it to go?
Well, I don't know if anyone could have necessarily. I guess we should have predicted the way it started, right? The way I described it on Twitter was like a sex-starved con who got released from prison and went straight to the bunny ranch and isn't sure what to do with himself. That's what it felt like to me. The analogy came instantly because it was so frenetic and sloppy, and you could tell that this buildup was not only just the 9 or so days before the series started, but was since last July when we kind of all knew this was going to happen. So it wasn't very pretty off the top, but it was sort of to be expected as far as both teams coming out sort of spastically trying to establish dominance and prove that they were fresh and ready to go.
Hey, Sarah, Chris here with Roger as well. What I don't want to hear, and I picked Cleveland in 7 games, but what I don't want to hear at the end of all this, if it ends in 4 or 5, is that LeBron just didn't have enough help. I mean, to me, this is the roster he constructed. You know, he lobbied for guys like J.R. Smith. He constructed the trade for Kevin Love. He wanted the Cavs to bring in guys like Darren Williams and Channing Frye. And so do you think at the end of this there's going to be that built-in excuse, well, Golden State was just way too loaded up and it's unfair to everybody else?
Yes. and I'm not usually one to make excuses for LeBron James. I'm such a Michael Jordan stan that I'll find any stat I can use to prove that he's not, reaching Jordan level status. But, yeah, I mean, the Warriors team is impossibly stacked. The thing that's interesting is, before 2 years ago, when the Warriors flipped the switch where Steph Curry started playing out of his mind, Steve Kerr figured out how to maximize the parts. Klay Thompson started, shooting out of his mind. It didn't look like a team that was so stacked with talent that it would be unfair. Now, of course, you add Kevin Durant to any team, even the worst team in the league, they get infinitely better. But when you look at just the roster construction of this Warriors team, if you looked at it 3 years ago, you would not believe that those parts were stronger than the parts of Cleveland. And in fact, right before the finals started, Mike had a couple different guests on and sort of said, if we go 1-to-1 in these starting rosters, a lot of people would argue that they believe the Cavs to have stronger players individually. But then you look at the end result of what this Warriors team does as a whole, and it does feel like the excuse is built in that they are just too good. And I don't know if maybe that's just hindsight where we see how well they play together, and then we give them more credit than is necessary as far as being constructed in a way that's unfair. It might just be that they produce in a way that's unfair.
We are talking NBA basketball finals with Sarah Spain, host of Izzy and Spain, and you see her a lot on Around the Horn. Sarah, it's only game one. What adjustments does Cleveland make? Can they make some adjustments to play a whole lot better in game 2? And what would your suggestions be?
Yeah, it's interesting because I tend to be a prisoner of the moment, and especially with this Warriors team that I already predicted would win in 5. It feels like an impossible task. But you have to look at last year. The Cavs lost the first 2 games of last season series with the Warriors by a total of 48 points before they made their comeback. LeBron has lost 6 straight game 1s of the finals, and he's won, 3 of his last 5 finals appearances. The only way the Cavs can really bounce back is to spin it as their problem and not the result of the Warriors' play. Now, of course, they'll be fooling themselves because obviously so much of what went wrong for them was the result of what the Warriors did to them. But they can point to the 20 turnovers and say, oh, if we just take care of the ball, we'll be better off. They can say, Tyronn Lue talked about how they needed to make their offense their defense, and that's via floor spacing and limiting turnovers, and they didn't do that. So there are ways that they can get better. J.R. Smith can play better perimeter defense. Kevin Love can play better on the switches. They can get a better rounded effort. I think it was, if Kyrie or LeBron wasn't shooting or creating the shot, they were 3 of 24, I think, maybe 3 of 23. So, they can find ways to spin all the statistics to prove to themselves that if they play better, the result will be better. I don't know if that's true. I think even if they play better, the Warriors might be just so good that it'll just be less of a blowout. But yeah, I mean, you have to convince yourself after last year's result that anything can happen. The series doesn't start until Draymond kicks someone in the groin, I think.
And don't worry, that's coming up. That's coming up. That's right around the corner. It'll happen, I guarantee you. Well, it sounds to me like you're not going to change your prediction of Golden State in 5. I'm certainly, after what I saw last night, not changing my prediction of Golden State in 6, but maybe Chris Honorado will change his prediction of Cleveland in 7.
I'm not ready to go there.
Not ready to
yet.
go there, Chris, huh?
Hey, Sarah, one.
Stand strong, man. Stand strong.
I'm gonna. You know what? I think last year is still in my head because they lost by a combined 48 points in games 1 and 2, and then blew out Golden State by 30, and then came back from 3. It's all in my head still. Look, at 3-0, maybe I'll move back towards Golden State. Sarah, I went to Ithaca. And I know you were a terrific athlete at Cornell, so you probably didn't maybe experience the Nines deep dish pizza as much as I did in College Town.
Yes, yeah.
But I'm wondering, how does it compare to Chicago deep dish, if at all?
Well, it's different. And here's my thing. I think of pizza like French fries. Even when they're bad, they're good, right? Like it's tough to mess up pizza. It's a delicious combination of ingredients. And so I tend not to get bogged down by the argument of whether New York is better than Chicago, because sometimes you want a slice and sometimes you want a pie made of cheese. and people come to Chicago and they're like, it's like a cake made out of cheese. And I'm like, exactly. What could possibly be better than that? Like, how could you possibly dog that? So the Nines was good, although Chicago, the deep dish is not even just thick. It's like a special construction. The architecture is different. So if you haven't come and gotten the real thing, you still have to get it, even though you've tried the Nines.
All right. The Nines, Roger, is a cool spot in College Town, which is like the Cornell downtown area.
Gotcha.
Good spot for live music and pizza. Yeah.
Good to know. And do me one favor, Sarah. Say hello to Kate Fagan for us, will you?
I will do. I'll talk to her tomorrow on the trifecta.
All right, because we are big fans, because she is a 518 person, Capital Region, and her dad is one of our partners here on Big Board Sports, Fagan and Associates. So tell her to we are trying to reach out to Kate to get her on our show at some point. So tell her that we said hello.
Oh, so you want me to give her a guilt trip? I get it. Okay, I'm on it.
If that's how you read into that, then so be it.
I'll tell her you're not nearly as bad as you seem.
There you go. These guys aren't so bad. They didn't keep me that long. They asked some semi-intelligent questions. Right. We talk about pizza in college and all that stuff. Sarah, thanks for a few minutes. We appreciate it.
Have a good one, guys.
Thanks, Sarah.
Sarah Spain, host of Izzy in Spain and Around the Horn, and she does partner up with Kate Fagan a lot. And yes, we do like Dennis and Chris Fagan an awful lot with Fagan and Associates.